Not since the start of the war had Russia unleashed such fury on Ukraine. On Monday, at least 20 cities were targeted with strikes on urban centres and critical infrastructure. Wave after wave of cruise missiles and drones. President Vladimir Putin's revenge for last week's explosion on the Kerch Bridge linking Crimea with mainland Russia.
There are continued attempts to carry out terrorist attacks on our territory. Russia's responses will be harsh, and their scale will correspond to the level of threat created for the Russian Federation. No one should have any doubt about that.
Threatening language, but absent the Kremlin's recent warnings, where President Putin reminded the world of Russia's nuclear arsenal and the potential for using it. Still, Ukraine's civic authorities are trying to make sure they're prepared for the worst.
The response in these cases is simple. When we get a message about a threat, we notify the population. Stay in houses or move to protective structures, underground or use PPE. If necessary, evacuations may be carried out depending on radioactive contamination. For this, pre-prepared evacuation points are mostly located in schools.
For Kyiv's residents, the safest places are deep beneath the city's streets.
It's a remarkable thing that the Soviets built these metro stations as bomb shelters to protect them from the West. Now, if there is a nuclear strike, it's likely to come from Ukraine's former Soviet ally, Russia.
In the early weeks of the war, these stations were full of people taking shelter, and they're equipped for full-on Armageddon.
Metal boxes on the floor open, and the shutter rises upwards. Thus, the passage is closed and the station is hermetically sealed. People staying here are completely protected from the external environment, both from a nuclear explosion and chemical weapons.
Seeking shelter underground or in windowless interior rooms, evacuation points, how to avoid breathing in radioactive dust. It's doomsday advice from a bygone era, updated for right here, right now, and modern digital technology. But some still feel Ukrainians are underprepared and unprotected. GEORGY ZHOROV runs Ray of Freedom. He's fundraising to provide survival kits, free of charge, for all.
My goal is to make Ukrainians conscious about it, for everyone to have a kit for themselves, because we live next to a dangerous neighbor, and you never know what is on someone's mind in the Kremlin.
For most people, the consequences of a nuclear strike are unthinkable, yet Ukrainians are having to think about them. RORY, Challands, Al Jazeera, Kyiv.